curious, did your impression change? I mean, before you meet Reid and work with Reid, and you had an impression, I think, on him.
Yeah.
Then now you have worked with him.
Yeah.
Did your impression on him change? And also, what's the biggest lesson you learned from working with Reid? If you could share.
Yeah. Yeah, I read his books growing up, and I listened to Masters of Scale, the podcast, when I was in college. No, when I was interning at my first startup. And for me, it was like gave me the confidence to go into startup because he's very much like he loves games, board games, and strategy kind of games. And I also, growing up, loved strategy games. So when he was like, "Oh, the theory of the game, like how do you," he was kind of like using analogies to games as a way to make startup uncertainty easier to navigate, right? So, I think for me, it's like I love games, and I think one way to kind of like games are fun because you get to be competitive, but it's not like life or death, right? So we get to explore our personalities, how we work well with each other, how we compete with each other, what our strengths and weaknesses are through games. And then the it also just gives us sometimes it's like let's say I introduce us to a new board game. All of us are learning the new game at the same time. So some people learn more quickly. Sometimes you think, oh, this reminds me of that other game. This reminds me of that mechanic. And so you kind of are trying to pattern match to learn how to get good at a new game. That actually is very relevant in startups because I think in startup, it's all new games. Everything is a new game. And, you might be the first person or first company or first team to be attacking a problem. And you're kind of like, you have to form a theory of the game that you're in. And that's a common read phrase is like, what's their theory of the game? Like, how are they thinking about this competition? How are they thinking about this ecosystem of problems? And so, I mean, it was pretty incredible meeting him in person. I was like, oh, wow, that's him. Like, this is how he kind of is. Like, the most, like, it's very much the same guy that you see. And I was like, okay, that's crazy. Biggest thing I've learned, I think, is like this experimental like mindset of like we should just be figuring things out. Like he loves to experiment. This Reid AI, right? Like I remember after it went viral, I was talking to him. I was like, man, I saw Reid AI on CNBC yesterday. What is happening? And he's like, hey, like eventually maybe everyone will have something like this. But when you're the first to do something, you kind of you get a lot of attention, right? Because now it's same thing. Yohei Nakajima, Baby AGI, perfect example of this. Everyone's building LLM wrappers now. But Baby AGI was like, it got all of this attention and momentum because he put it out there first, even though it was not complete.